this beach in California what a beach is made of, he'll probably say light-colored sand.
Now, you wouldn't believe it if I told you
that I could run like the wind blows.
However, this beach in Hawaii is made of small grains of black volcanic rock. This beach at La Jolla, California, is made of pebbles and cobbles. In southern Florida, the beaches are composed mostly of small bits of seashells. And some English beaches are made up of small, flat rock fragments called shingles. Actually, beaches are composed of whatever loose material is available.
I ran clear to the ocean. And when I got there, I figured since I'd gone this far, I might as well turn around, just keep on going. When I got to another ocean, I figured since I'd gone this far, I might as well just turn back, keep right on going. When I got tired, I slept. When I got hungry, I ate. When I had to go, you know.
People say this California beach is made of light-colored sand. But what is the sand composed of? Tiny grains of quartz and feldspar, the two most common minerals found in solid rock. Where could the billions of grains of minerals that make up this beach have come from? And how did they get here? All along this coast, there are streams that flow down to the beaches. And when a stream is dry, we can see that its bed is actually a trail of sand. If we go up one of these trails, we should be able to see where the sand comes from. Up in the mountains, we come to a place where the stream flows over solid rock. Here, because of rain, heat, cold, and chemical change over thousands of years, the solid rock breaks down into bits of quartz, feldspar, and other minerals. Soon, the rock debris is washed into a stream and is on its way to the ocean. By the time the rock debris has reached the coast, it has been refined and sorted out. The bigger, heavier chunks of rock have been left upstream. The smallest particles have been washed out to sea. What is left are hard, durable grains of quartz and feldspar, the typical raw materials of a sand beach. Now let's find out something about how beaches are formed.
Not too shabby.
Anyone who has built a sand castle below the high tide line knows something about the processes that shape beaches.
Oh, not the buttons! Not my gumdrop button!
The waves have restored the beach to its original condition. When a wave washes up on the beach, sand grains are lifted up by the water. Each wave picks up millions of sand grains and moves them. What effects do these movements have on the beach over long periods of time?
I'm a geologist by training, and barrier islands are my laboratory. But even if this wasn't my job, I know that I'd spend every spare moment that I could on barrier islands. Because besides being scientifically fascinating, these islands have a unique spiritual quality about them that comes from their wild natural beauty and their sense of history and cultural heritage that is so much a part of the North Carolina coast. I'm Orrin Pilkey, and I spent 25 years exploring and trying to understand these barrier islands. And I'd like to share with you now some of the things that I've learned. The most important fact I've learned, and in fact the key to understanding these barrier islands, is that the only constant here is change. Sand dunes rise and fall, beaches shrink and grow, and whole barrier islands can move landward. Just like a living creature, a barrier island never stands still. And just like living creatures, the movement here is not random. It's all part of a pattern of stimulus and response. Yeah.
Well, which way did it go, George? Which way did it go?
In fact, I've really come to think of these barrier islands as living things. They're constantly responding in sensible and even intelligent ways to the forces of wind and water. So movement and change are keys to understanding barrier islands. And nowhere is rapid change more obvious than here on the beach. To me, the beach is a very special place.
Why? Why did you do it?
It's even a magical place. It's the most dynamic strip of land on Earth, and to be on a beach is to be in a sea of constant change. Sand is always on the move, blown by the wind, carried by the waves. The importance of change is so great here that the beach is actually defined by the movement of sand.
When we think of the beach, we tend to think of that narrow strip of dry sand that runs between the sand dunes and the sea. But the above-water beach, called the recreational beach, is like the tip of an iceberg peeking above the water. The whole beach is actually a wide, mobile band of sand stretching from the first line of dunes to an ocean depth of about 30 feet. In North Carolina, that may be a mile or more out to sea. Outside that break point, sand falls to the ocean floor and is lost to the beach system. But within the beach system, on the underwater shore face, sand is constantly on the move.
Still photographs of this beach have been taken from the same camera position over a period of years. Let's compare some of these photographs. The sand comes and goes according to the season. At the end of a summer, the beach is piled high. At the end of a winter, the sand is gone. The following summer, the sand returns. But why? In summer, the waves that wash up on this beach are small and carry less energy than the winter waves, which are bigger and more powerful. Such seasonal changes in wave size may be the cause of the seasonal changes in the beach. Let's check this idea. This is a model beach in a wave tank. We'll be able to make waves of different kinds in the tank and see what effect they have on the beach. First, we'll make some small waves, the kind that are most common in summer. To speed up the process, we'll use the time-lapse camera and condense 2 hours into 30 seconds. The small summer waves push the sand toward the shore in the form of migrating sandbars. Eventually, the waves push enough sand onshore to form a steep beach face. Now watch what happens when we make bigger waves, the kind that strike the beach in winter. The bigger winter waves gouge out sand from the steep slope and deposit it as sandbars offshore. The result is a beach face that looks like this. Now watch what happens when we make summer waves again. The sand that was taken away from the slope by the big waves is put back again by the smaller waves. In other words, the sand moves back and forth between the exposed beach face and the underwater part of the beach slope.
About 15,000 years ago, sea level was 300 feet lower than it is today. Where ocean waves now roll was a vast forested coastal plain extending 40 miles east of today's shoreline to the edge of the continental shelf. At that time, increasing global temperatures began releasing a huge volume of water from the glacial ice caps. Rising sea level flooded the valleys of the coastal plain, and century on century of the erosive action of wind and water on the resulting headlands left a chain of above-water sandbars stretching along the coast. Some of our existing islands, like Core Bank and Masonboro Island, retain the characteristics of these early barrier islands. Low, thin islands sparsely vegetated with zones of grass and maritime forests, and backed by salt marsh.
These are the major environments on a barrier island. First, on the right, you have the shore face sediments. These are the beach sediments. You have ridges and the beach berm. Think of that as basically the beach. Then you get to the dunes, sand dunes. Sometimes, in many places, these sand dunes are cut by what are called overwash fans. You can see an example of one right there. The island may also contain forests or grassland, just depends on the type of island. The back part of the island consists of marsh, and then you may even have a tidal flat and then a lagoon. So these are the major settings or depositional environments on a barrier island. Here's a picture of a beach in Louisiana. It's composed of sand, there's symmetrical ripples, and a group of students right here digging a trench on the beach. The dunes, generally cross-bedded sand, only flooded occasionally during large storms, sometimes a sandy soil. You have some plants that occur in the dunes, and those are actually very important plants because they stabilize the dunes. So you shouldn't be walking on those plants because it will destabilize them and destroy the dunes, and we don't want to destroy dunes. The salt marsh, the back part of the barrier island. Very mucky, organic rich sediment, sometimes very shallow water. You get a lot of crabs and oysters and things like that. Various types of grasses, cordgrass, sawgrass. You get mussels and clams, birds.
Josh,
Susan,
you don't.
I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry, but
I guess I didn't
trying to
hear
tell
you
you last night.
or want to or.
Reasons for me to go home, but there's only one reason for me to stay.
Today, so let's get this over with.
Irving?
I'm sorry, Irene.
Come on, Walsh. We don't have all day. There's 50 more houses to tear down after yours.
Ease off, Brand.
It's okay.
Sheriff, I want you to witness this.
Sorry, Dad. We had our hands on the future. We blew it to save our own lives. Sorry.
It's all right. You and Brand are home safe with your mom and me. That makes us the richest people in Astoria.
Walsh, you're looking at the richest people in Astoria. Now sign it.
I'm sure gonna miss being a Goonie.
Ay, Dios mío de mi vida. Ay, Dios mío de mi vida. Ave María Purísima, mira nomás. Ay.
What's he saying, Houseman? What's he saying?
Señora, no firmen. Mira nomás que tesoro.
No pen? No pen? No what? No right?
No firmen. Mira nomás.
No what?
No sign.
No sign! No sign! No sign! No sign!
Ay, señor Juan, mira nomás. Señor Juan, señora Juan, mire. Deme la mano. Deme la mano.
Patillas forgot to check it. See, I emptied out the marbles and I put the jewels in. We don't have to leave the Goondock.
There'll be no more signing today or ever again.
Are those jewels real? How'd you
you can't find him. What happened out there where your life's in danger?
The octopus was boy scary.
Oh,
Yeah, it was boy dangerous. The scariest thing is walking the planet.
Yeah, and when we found the pirate ship.
Yeah, and see, that has a pirate's treasure. We're getting chased by the Patellians.
All right, fellas, that's enough. Telling more stories, Lawrence.
Oh, no, this time it's for real.
Holy Mary, Mother of God. Look at that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're at Cauldron Point, and what appears to be a pirate ship.
Bye, Willie. Thanks.
I am schwitzing from here to high heaven. Come on! I'm coming! I got splinters in my toes. Oh, God, I hate Atlantic City.
Daniel, son. Secret to punch. Make a power, whole body. Fit inside, 1 inch. Yeah. Power, whole body, 1 inch. Yeah. Now punch. Hard.
Weekend in North Carolina's Outer Banks. Shelley Island is a destination that you won't find on a standard map. The giant barrier island suddenly formed in the Atlantic almost overnight. Mark Strassman is in Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, on America's newest beach. Mark, good morning.
Good morning. I want to show you something. You see those cars about 100 yards away? That's the tip of the Outer Banks with all of their famous beaches. I'm walking on New Beach on a new island that hundreds of people are going to spend at least part of their 4th of July weekend at. Here it is, 1 mile long, a football field wide, and growing. Proof that whoever said no one was building any more beachfront property was wrong. Pilot Larry Ely.
It's definitely got bigger. You know, it's definitely gotten higher, more built up.
We set out by kayak with Danny Couch to explore North Carolina's newest barrier island. He's a 9th-generation North Carolinian, a county commissioner here, and a lifelong resident of the Outer Banks. Couch has seen barrier islands pop up before, but not like this one he first noticed back in April.
This is the mother of all sandbars, all of a sudden right here where we're sitting.
What makes it the mother of all sandbars?
It's a hoss. It's huge. It is big.
This area off North Carolina's coast is one of the most dynamic ocean environments on Earth, nicknamed the graveyard of the Atlantic, with more than 2,000 documented shipwrecks since 1585. Two powerful currents collide here, the Gulf Stream from the Caribbean flowing quickly north, and the Labrador Current from the Arctic pushing south. The currents collide, churning surf and sand at Diamond Shoals, a cluster of shifting underwater sandbars off the coast of Cape Hatteras. Satellite imagery from last March on show once this large shoal surfaced, it has just kept growing. And the two currents pushed all this sand together, and suddenly here we are?
Yes, sir, and sustained these shoals too. Nobody will ever be able to predict what's going to come out of the ocean or what it's going to look like.
Over Memorial Day, 11-year-old Caleb Regan visited for the first time. He noticed shells scattered everywhere and gave the place a name that stuck, Shelley Island.
I thought it would just be like a little family nickname, and I can't believe it had gotten this big. Very incredible.
Tourists kept coming to Shelley Island both for the shells and the novelty. Elsa Adams did.
For me, it's all new. I'm originally from the Netherlands, so yeah.
And in the Netherlands, do they have islands popping up overnight?
No, we don't have that. No.
But from the air, we also spotted potential trouble. Sharks swimming near boaters and waders. Shelley Island is so new, no federal or state agency regularly patrols here. So who owns this?
Right now, nobody's really claiming ownership. It's sort of a no man's land.
This could be yours or mine or somebody's.
Absolutely, we should be so lucky, but it belongs to the American people. It's a phenomenon. Enjoy it. Enjoy it while we have it.
Now, before you rush here to build your beach house, remember something. Nature gives, and nature can also take away. The next major hurricane that comes along could blast this island, as big as it is, right back into the Atlantic. Jeff?